Hello and welcome to another edition of Town Talk. My name is Connor Lynch, your host for the day. Town Talk is a program where we sit down with important people who help make Westwood better every day and learn about what's going on and what's coming up. My guest today is one of the most important people in our town, which is only slightly ironic, as he is also one of its newest employees. It's my honor to welcome Fire Chief John Deckers. John, thank you for coming on the show today.
Well, I appreciate you having me here today.
Yeah. Do you mind John, Fire Chief, Mr. Deckers?
John is fine.
John is fine? Awesome. So before we kind of get into the nitty gritty, I was just wondering if we can talk a little bit about who you are, where you came from, how you got into fire. I remember you kind of have an interesting way of getting into the fire department.
Yes, as a young child growing up in Hingham, Massachusetts, in elementary school, the firehouse was sitting right outside our classroom. So I would spend most of my day daydreaming about becoming a firefighter. But that dream sort of went on the back burner for a little while as I continued on growing up, going to high school, graduated from here in Zavarian, went off to college, graduated from college out of the University of Connecticut, and started my own construction business. And it seemed all the employees I was hiring were volunteers. So if they were leaving the job site to go, I said I might as well join them because I'm not getting any work done today. So I joined the fire service and really fell in love with the fire service. And from there it grew. So I started off as a volunteer in a very small community, very much like Westwood, servicing about 16,000 people. As a volunteer department, we had about 130 members. I rose up through the ranks and retired there as an assistant chief. And at the same time, while I was there, I actually got a career job in the town of West Hartford, Connecticut, where again, I came in as a firefighter and rose up through the ranks, and I left as a battalion chief to take the job here in Westwood.
Okay. So you said with your first community, it was 16,000 people. In comparison, how much would Westwood be? Do you know?
Westwood's around 15,000.
Okay, so basically kind of the same form of community. That's awesome. So from West Hartford, you were working there for a while. How did you hear about the position opening up in Westwood for the fire chief position? How did that kind of come into your lap?
I belong to the International Association of Fire Chiefs and other organizations. So from time to time, we get emails, or I could be out looking and come across it. I just happened to trip across the Westwood application. I had just finished up testing on the Cape. I was actually, hanging my hat up for a little while, not going to do much with that. We had some changes coming down the road in West Hartford. I had potential to be there and promote up to assistant chief, possibly chief of the department. So I just sat back for a little while, wasn't doing much, and the email popped up, and I said, interesting, might get me a shot at getting back home, because my in-laws still live in Millis. And I had been for years trying to get back up into Massachusetts. So it was like the writing was on the wall. Mm-hmm. This must have been perfect because I wasn't looking and it fell right into my lap. So I applied and went through the process and was chosen by the selectmen to fill the spot.
Must be kind of ironic coming back to the town that you went to high school and kind of just randomly as the fire chief. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess what I want to ask is, what is different about Westwood compared to the different communities that you serve with West Hartford, with your first community? What kind of has been new challenges or surprises along the way? I mean, I know you're relatively new to the fire position, but...
This is my first position as a fire chief, but I served in the administrative functions as a shift commander battalion chief in West Hartford. In that position, I worked with 20 other individuals, 5 companies, all staffed with 4. So the biggest challenge for me is coming with that resource pool that I was able to draw from at emergency scenes down to my minimum staffing right now is, as fire chief here in Westwood, our minimum staffing is 7, meaning that's the lowest number of people I'll have on shift at one period of time in a 24-hour window right now. Currently, I have shift strength of 9, so 2 people take off, I'm down at my 7. So that's a big difference when you're trying to run an emergency scene with 20 other individuals. opposed to running that same type of incident with 7. So that's a big change for me to have to get used to the delay in callback to get more additional staff. And we have a great mutual aid partners that I've worked with already since I've been here in my first month with Norwood, Walpole, Dedham, Needham, and other surrounding towns. So it's been a great learning curve, but I picked it up pretty quick.
That's good. And it's also good that you kind of have the support of the other communities and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And the chiefs have been great, but even more importantly, the retiring fire chief from here, Bill Scoble, was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Our transition, he gave me a lot of great information, which made my transition much easier.
Yeah. Just kind of like a funny question that I have, like, do you like have his cell phone number? If you get a little stuck, you can call him up.
I still have his cell phone.
Yeah.
He actually lives right in my backyard from where I'm living. So we're neighbors.
Yeah.
So if I do need to get a hold of him, he's already given me the green light to reach out and call, and he's been there since day one.
Nice. That's awesome. And obviously, you wish him a safe and happy retirement.
Absolutely. He deserves it.
Yeah. So shifting to a little bit about the new fire station. I'm sure you're sick of talking about it to death, but I just wanted to ask a little bit about some of the new changes that have gone in it. I mean, apart from just the building itself being new, what on the inside is new? Is it new cutting edge technology? Are there small little improvements that kind of just make everything better overall? What when you walk in, would you say, wow, I've never seen that before?
That's rare in the fire service because we go to a lot of different buildings, so you see a lot of different technology. We are on, or try to be on, the cutting edge of technology and bringing new ideas to the field. Basically, the big push for that station was to replace a 2-car garage that had been built years and years ago with several additions on it to fit the apparatus that we need to do our jobs. And right now, the new Station 2 holds 3 pieces of apparatus. That's what I have currently assigned there, and some spare pieces, 2 brush trucks. But I have a frontline engine, a frontline ladder, and an ambulance there. So so for us, it gives us the ability to store all that apparatus there, be able to potentially staff that apparatus. But more importantly, our mechanic can now go down, especially in the winter, where today it's below freezing, to work on that apparatus inside if need be.
Okay. And I think I remember when you had been talking to the FinCom last week, there was mention of new fire trucks that were coming in order to meet the height requirement for the East Street Bridge.
Yep.
So when will those be back, do you know?
One is in service right now. Actually, engine 2 is in service, and engine 5 has been delivered. And we sent it back to the factory to get some work done on it that just wasn't quite right, the way we wanted it. And that should be back shortly, and then we'll begin to outfit that one. And then what will happen is the current engine 5 will go back into a reserve status so that we can get about another 12 to 14 years out of that piece before we have to buy another one. They have a 24-year life cycle for that type of apparatus. So once that occurs, I estimate that should be in the next 45 days or so. Okay. And we'll see that new piece here.
That's awesome. Okay. So Fire Station 2 has been built. Everything's good with that. Fire Station 1, I've heard little rumors about wanting to make little renovations inside or something like that. Or, what is it about Fire Station 1 that's going to happen now that Fire Station 2 is open?
Fire Station 1 is the main headquarters. So 2 really supports the University Station, Islington end of town. We need both stations. Right now, we're in the middle of a municipal facility study, along with all the public buildings plus schools. So once we figure out all the needs in the community, then what we will do is figure out what we need to do with Station 1, whether it be the renovations or replace the station to basically set ourselves up to be in the next 50 years in direction of where we're going with that station. But both stations will remain part of our response system.
like one, I know that throughout the renovations of Station 2, a lot of people went into Station 1, like that was kind of like the main hub, so.
Station 1 is currently our main hub.
Okay.
And a lot of that deals with where the calls in town are situated when you look at statistics. However, we have a system where we cross-staff. So depending on time of day, call volume, we will move personnel from one station to another for coverage. That's one of the best things that I found about this department and the staff that works with me, is they're very flexible and they move very quickly to upstaff and staff correctly within the system. So currently, ones holds most of our staff because it has the majority of all of our hardware, but twos can very quickly surge to where we need it to be to fill any gaps that we might have.
Excellent. So going kind of a little more specific into, one of the big things that's facing Massachusetts and really the United States in general is the opioid epidemic.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if, you give a little insight as to how Westwood is kind of prepared to handle a situation where that might be a factor in trying to help somebody.
It's funny you ask, because today is actually a meeting that we go to monthly amongst many communities that get together and discuss what other communities are doing and how we can support one another. Deputy Chief Reardon actually sits on that committee as part of the fire department liaison. And we work very closely with the police department, the Westwood Police Department, and the district attorney's office, putting together campaigns to actually go out and help people that have had an issue with the opiate crisis, and trying to educate and get them services so they can get out from underneath that addiction. So we're continuing to work in that direction. As I said, we meet monthly to discuss the mission and in what direction we're heading. I'll have more information when Chief Reardon gets back from his meeting today from where we are.
Probably should have waited until tomorrow then.
But it's going very well. If we look at the statistics from year to year to year, our statistics for having to use Narcan are starting to drop down, so that's always a good sign.
And for people who want to know, what is Narcan?
That is the drug that helps to bring back a person that has overdosed on opiates.
Okay. Well, it's good that we're prepared, and look forward to hearing what Deputy Chief Reardon will come back and let us know about. One of my other questions that I wanted to ask was, a lot of times when you join a job, you might not know, oh, this is what I was supposed to do. It might not be kind of in the job description. It might be like a hidden thing that you were supposed to know or that you're supposed to do. I'm wondering if, you're relatively new to fire chief, obviously, but if there's anything that's come along the way that you've kind of been surprised that you had to take over, or something that you weren't expecting or never heard about.
Really, there's not, because when you prepare for this seat, it happens over a long period of time. And because I broadened my educational opportunities with getting a master's through Anna Maria College, and also getting my executive fire officer certification from the National Fire Academy, I have a very broad pool of professionals that I can pick their brains about things. And many of them, when they heard that I was getting this position, reached out and said, hey, don't forget about this, and make sure you keep an eye on this. So I was not yet surprised by anything here in Westwood. Not saying that I won't be surprised or something that I may come across, but the biggest thing for us in the fire service really is to look at community risk as a whole, which a lot of people focus on the fire department as, hey, we don't have a lot of fires. But in Westwood, we do a lot of medical calls. And when somebody has a problem, no matter what the problem is, they call us to see if we can fix the problem before they call maybe a plumber or an electrician. So we put a lot of people's minds at ease with that. So we do a lot more than just put out fires and put Band-Aids on people. We do the complete advanced life support, from heart attacks to childbirth to motor vehicle accidents to fires. And thankfully, most of our fires we've been able to keep small. And that's because we have a very fluid system that allows for very quick changes. And our folks are highly trained and get out ahead of these calls very quickly, get there, do what they have to do quickly, and then we're able to save a lot of property that way.
Absolutely, that's good. I like to hear that. So you talked a little bit about community, and obviously community value is very big. You know, with Westwood, we have a lot that our fire department does. We have them come out to Westwood Day and do a demo on, you know, I believe the term is blowback, when the fire gets stuck underneath the ceiling and then it kind of just
Backdraft?
Backdraft, yeah. Sorry, I'm not
Nope, that's
no
okay.
expert.
Nope, that's all right.
I'm just wondering, you know, a big community value is like that, or when we had the tree lighting ceremony, like the fire department was there, I saw you there, we had, you know, Santa get a ride from one of the fire engines. How big is that kind of community value, you know? It's
extremely important to be involved in the community because in most cases when the fire department responds, it's your worst day. We don't want people to think of us as only responding on your worst day. We're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We want to be part of the community. So when you see our fire trucks out in the community, a lot of people, and they might be at High Street Market and picking up dinner. Well, we send them out together on one piece because they may get a call, and I don't want that call delayed where someone has to run back to the station to get in a piece to go. So we want our firefighters to be out in the community. I don't want them hiding behind closed doors at the firehouse. I've said it, and I said it in my badge pinning, I think, is we want people to come and visit us. If the doors are up and we're home, come and visit us. Bring the kids by, stop by, ask us about community risk reduction. What can we help you with? We'll come out, we'll talk to people in their homes. We'll do home inspections to make sure things are safe. We want to be part of the community. I actually met with the union last week and we talked about that same thing. So our local union members want to be involved. I know that from the chief's point of view, I want the department involved. So we're looking to get more involved in the community because in the end, every touch we have in the community gives us more information to provide better community risk reduction.
Excellent. I'm really glad to hear that. My final question for you today, I was trying to do research on drumming up questions and things like that, and you had helped found something about a hazardous response team?
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about what that program is?
Well, in the state of Massachusetts, they have an excellent hazardous materials response team, and it's broken up. They have caches in different regions. Currently, we actually store one of their trucks at Station 1. And one of my captains actually is on the team. So he makes sure all the equipment is ready to go and it can be deployed quickly. And if they have a call, we actually drive the truck to the scene and their folks come and staff it. So he's part of that. And when I was in Connecticut after 9/11, I was part of a much broader group of individuals who created our own regional hazmat team. So I was a founding member of that team and got all the training, flew all over the country to go to different types of schools, from weapons of mass destruction to bombings to all of that stuff. So there's a wide range of expertise that comes with that team, and you try to capitalize on the folks that are willing to put the time in, because it's a tremendous amount of time to keep those certifications, that want to be able to give back to the community more than they already do.
That's awesome. Excellent. Well, Fire Chief, thank you for joining us today. It was a pleasure to talk to you, kind of get to know a little bit more about the fire department and pick your brain a little bit.
I'm glad to come out anytime, and you know, as I said before, please come down and see us at the firehouse. Anything we can do to help people, please reach out and let us know what we can do for you.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. My name is Connor Lynch. Please join us again soon for some more Town Talk.